What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Philly with Jon Marks. As always, brought to you by our buddies over at Bet Parks. Get on the Bet Parks app right now and maybe look at some futures in the NBA. As we saw the league open last night with 2 games. 76ers tonight. Big story is obviously what's going on with Joel Embiid and Paul George. My first memory in life was the '80 World Series and Bob Boone, Pete Rose. I talked about it when Pete Rose died. It's probably my first memory in life was Pete Rose snatching the ball from Bob Boone as he bobbled it in the 9th inning of the World Series. But my first team that I loved, and I loved sports from an early age. I remember the Eagles in the Super Bowl. But the 1983 Philadelphia 76ers I was old enough to really start to appreciate it. Dr. J, I mean, you talk about an iconic Philadelphia sports figure, really an iconic NBA figure. Moses Malone, I mean, all the Andrew Toney, I loved Andrew Toney. Maurice Cheeks is probably my favorite Philadelphia athlete of all time. I grew up when I was a young kid with some really, really good 76ers teams. And then Doc got old. Charles came in and was an excellent player, but they never really had success. They never even made it to an Eastern Conference Finals with Charles Barkley. He got traded. They're bad for a long time. And then AI gets drafted. They had the run with AI, made the finals. But if you think about this, the Sixers in 40 years has been to 1 Eastern Conference Final. One NBA final, 1 Eastern Conference Final. And now you get Joel Embiid. And it's like, oh my God, Ben Simmons, the process. It's what bothers me the most out of everything that happened yesterday. So it comes down to Paul George is going to be out of the lineup. He's not ready to start the season, which everybody pretty much knew. It was just confirmed. He hyperextended the knee. We saw it. It's not good. It's fine. He doesn't have to start the season. He's injured. We don't need to rush it. Joel Embiid, though, because the Sixers had been pretty innocuous about everything, I wasn't sure if he was going to start the season because I'd really received no information on him. I had no reason not to believe he was going to start the season, but still, there was this weird thing where they were beating around the bush with Joel Embiid. So how are we supposed to feel? Joel Embiid's not playing in the opener, and more on that in a second. How is a 76er at this point supposed to feel after the 76ers give you no transparency, give you no real reason or rhyme to what's going on with Joel Embiid? He played in the Olympics. He came back from the Olympics. They had training camp, which is supposed to be the ramp up. And then they say at the very last minute, the day before the opener, oh yeah, he's not going to play. Which Joel Embiid doesn't need to play Game 1. He doesn't need to. If he's injured, which he's injured, he doesn't need to play. It's not about this. It's about the transparency and the fatigue that a lot of 76ers fans have with this franchise right now. Joel Embiid wanted to play in the Olympics. I'm not mad at Joel Embiid if indeed he played in the Olympics and his knee didn't respond, which, let's be honest, we can beat around the bush and we can say, oh, well, maybe this happened, maybe that happened. And it's pretty clear that he played in the Olympics. It's earlier than he normally would play, and his knee hasn't responded since he got back from the Olympics. Did he not train when he came back from the Olympics? Did he get fat or put on weight since he got back from the Olympics? I don't know anything about that. All I know is that he's not ready to play and start the regular season. And the best reasoning or the best idea is that his body and knee didn't respond after playing the Olympics. He's not ready to go to start the season. I'm not mad at Joel Embiid for wanting to play in the Olympics. He wanted to play for the United States in the Olympics. Now, am I thrilled that he's not healthy to start the season, probably from playing in the Olympics? No, I'm not thrilled about it, but I also need to move past it. I don't think he can do it again. You can't, after last time, not being ready to start the season. I don't think he can do it again, not with the condition his body is in, not with the condition his knee is in. He said just 2 weeks ago or so that he's probably never going to play in back-to-backs again in his career. Well, if that's the case, then you can't play in the Olympics, or it can't affect you starting the regular season. In the grand scheme of things, Joel Embiid not starting the season because of an injury isn't something that we shouldn't expect at this point, right? But it's the communication by the 76ers that really makes me more angry than anything else. And Sixers fans should feel incredibly frustrated right now. that he's injured again, and that health is always going to be a thing with Joel Embiid. It's going to be a thing. When he says that he's not playing back-to-backs, he says that for good reason. His body isn't set up to do that. Maybe he shouldn't have said it. Maybe it looks a lot worse than actually the facts, which are he's not going to be able to do it likely. But what's frustrating is the 76ers' behavior. I was thinking about it. I'm like, how are the 76ers acting? Because if he's not ready to come back after the Olympics, and they're not saying anything about it, and then at the last second they say, oh, yeah, well, he's not ready, and then they have no real explanation. Here's actually our own Kyle Neubeck, PHLY Sixers. So it comes down, he's not playing. Nick Nurse has a press conference. What's the explanation for it? Listen to Kyle Neubeck asking the tough questions, and Nick Nurse has no answer. Not quite ready from what? Am I missing something? He didn't play in the preseason. Training camp's supposed to ramp you up. But what am I missing here? What we're missing is obvious, that he didn't respond well to the Olympics. He's not ready to go. It's like when I have something that I need to tell my wife, but I'm not necessarily telling her until I feel like that I need to say it because I don't feel like arguing, or I don't feel like being mad at, or I don't feel like hearing crap. You know what I mean? So let's say that I have a business trip. It's like, hey, Marks, you and Philly are going to Vegas for the Summer League for the Sixers. Or hey, you're going to Phoenix for the Super Bowl, and you're going to be gone for the week, and your wife's going to have the kids all the days, right? So you wait and you wait and you wait. And you're like, all right, I'll tell her Friday night after dinner. Going out to dinner, have a nice dinner, I'll tell her afterwards. And then dinner's nice, and you're feeling lucky, so you don't want to ruin that opportunity. So I'll tell her tomorrow. I'll tell her the following week. And before you know it, now you really have to tell her. And she's pissed because you waited to the last minute, and you could have done it 3 or 4 weeks before that. That's what the 76ers did. They were hoping that Embiid would be okay, to where they didn't or wouldn't have to say, oh, man, like he tweaked something in the Olympics, or his knee hasn't responded well since coming back. All they had to do was be transparent and honest. I'm not going to be mad at the 76ers because Embiid played in the Olympics and he came back. They're going to catch crap. It's shrapnel. That's what you're in business to do in Philadelphia. You don't get we give the benefit of the doubt because they've won championships, or look what the Eagles have done, 2 Super Bowls in 6 years, or the Phillies. Right? You don't get that benefit of the doubt. And it sucks for the 76ers. That's what happens when you win one, or you go to one Eastern Conference final in 40 years. That's what happens when you have to put 76ers fans through the process where they're intentionally losing. That's what happens when they haven't been past the second round of the playoffs. That's what happens when you have Doc Rivers, who didn't care what fans have been through for the last 40 years. That's what happens when you have the attitude of Daryl Morey, who doesn't care what the fans have been through the last 40 years. He wasn't there for that. That's not his fault. There's just very tone deaf from the 76ers organization, which I have no problem with Josh Harris. I think the 76ers are well run from a business standpoint. They have a ton of talent on this team. Unfortunately, their best player and their superstar can't stay healthy and has bad knees and is always injured. So it's frustrating for 76ers fans. Just be transparent. Don't throw this at us the last minute, even though we've come to expect it. So it's very frustrating as a 76er fan. All right, we'll move on to some headlines. JP and the place to be. You know him from the Anthony Gargano show and the Union podcasts and everything else. He's going to be with us here for the next week and a half. Tyler's off for the remaining of this week. What's up, JP?
What's up, Johnny?
I know it hit you yesterday. I knew it hit you yesterday as well, like every other 76er fan, because you're looking forward to the opener. Yeah. We know Paul George isn't likely to play, but still, of course, right? The Bucks, big game. Oh, Embiid, right? And last second, We're on a need-to-know basis, and the 76ers determine when we need to know, and we didn't need to know to the very last minute.
Yeah, I think what's frustrating for me is like, look, I mean, we dealt with Joel Embiid for almost a decade now, right? Like, we know what is Joel Embiid. We know he's always going to never be fully 100% healthy. And, like, I'm not necessarily upset the fact that he's missing the first game. You know, we'll see how much more that he does miss. But it's like, you know, I think that clip with Kyle Neubeck, I mean, he said it all. It felt like the Sixers were not prepared for this. And that's what's upsetting here is like, how are you not prepared for this? Look, I'm with you. Can't be mad at the fact that he wanted to represent and play in the Olympics. That's something we can't be. And by the way, John, this city lauded Joel Embiid for doing that. They love the fact that he was out there playing with Team USA, playing with the stars that were on Team USA. So now we can't just take our thoughts back. Like, we were all happy at that time. It's just unfortunate that, you know, Joel Embiid, this is kind of what Joel Embiid is. He's obviously one of the best players of our generation, but can't stay healthy. It's been his MO, man.
We shouldn't be surprised. And we shouldn't be surprised in the way that the 76ers are communicating with us.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. All right, let's get to some headlines. Sponsored by Glatt Hair Restoration. Bald is now optional if you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself. Glatt Hair has the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit Glatt, G-L-A-T, GlattHairMCTR.com, or call operators are standing by 610-980-4000. All right, so we talked about the 76ers already. By the way, pre and post game, PHLY Sixers.
Yeah.
So they'll have you down at the Wells Fargo Center. Guys will keep you, get you before. We'll do this and then obviously react to the game afterwards. And by the way, keep up to everything with Philly sports and beyond. PHLY Daily is delivered directly to your mailbox every morning. Not your actual mailbox, where this is email. And this isn't some wimpy newsletter that sometimes you get with websites. Rich Hoffman Jr. really works hard putting together everything on PHLY Daily.
He's great, man.
Literally everything you need to know if you're a Philly sports fan and beyond. I can't say enough about it. And it's free. You can subscribe at allphly.com. All right, so we got the 76ers stuff. We'll get back to more in a second. What's going on with the Flyers, man? They lose to the Caps 4-2, fifth straight loss. 2-0 after one, 2-0 going in the third period. Travis Sanheim gets the Flyers on the board. Michkov gets an assist on that one, but this Cap scored about a minute later and then added an insurance goal. 4-1, they lose. Flyers haven't won a game since their season opener, and that was a shootout win. So 6 games this season, they haven't won a game in regulation. So my question, because I was told this was going to be a really fun season, and, oh, yeah, they can make the playoffs, but, man, this is going to be fun. As a Zamboner who was told this was going to be fun, bro, I've turned into a couple times, including last night. This ain't fun.
This is not fun. No,
that game sucked last night. I turned it off again.
I mean, I think, like, even if you are a Zamboner, what's going on with the Flyers right now is pretty self-explanatory. Number one, they are just peppering goalies. They cannot get a shot past the goalie to save their life, and that's just been the problem. And it feels like a lot of it is mental right now, especially offensively. I mean, the big thing last night is Torts again. I mean, like, we're in Game 6 of the NHL season, and Torts is already tinkering with lines. He benched Tyson Forrester. He was the infamous healthy scratch, which we all remember last year very well. If you are a Flyers fan, where, you know, he just loves to just bench these young players, and there's not really like a good explanation. Yes, I mean, young players are going to make mistakes, John. Like, they're young players. It's what they do.
He's the wrong guy to be handling this team, possibly.
And that's something that's going to come up soon enough.
I agree.
But look, matching Michkov with Paling on the second line. I mean, come on, guys. Like, that's not what we
What you do. Yeah, see, this is way deeper than any conversation I can possibly have. I'm coming in on the ground floor, and I'm looking to be entertained.
But this is some of the problems, too.
And it sucked. I mean, it really has. Saturday, I was talking them up to my kids. They're like, yeah, Flyers. I don't think they've ever watched a Flyers game. My daughter's first grade teacher, big Flyers fan, and she would always ask me, well, why don't we watch the Flyers? I'm like, because, like, you're in bed. That's why we don't watch the Flyers, whatever. So, like, and we watched the first 10 minutes of the game on Saturday night, and there's college football going on. I'm like, this sucks. I'm out of here. So here's my question as a Zamboner.
Okay.
Does it get better? Or is this going to be a bad team and the coach is getting fired and we're questioning Jonesy, Embriere, and everybody else?
All right, so this is the way I've looked at it this season. And if you follow the Flyers over the past couple of years, I know it's been tough, but the one thing you notice that every year the Flyers have started off quick. They get these quick starts. Everyone's like, oh, the Flyers, okay. And then they just fall off, right? They get that 10-game losing streak. Like, obviously, going in the beginning of part of this year, a 5-game losing streak, it's not fun. But I do think that, I do hope that they do snap out of this. Like I said, you do have young players. Young players are going to make mistakes, but young players also can be wild cards as well. So obviously this is one of those things where you're going to have to wait and see, but I am hopeful that they will turn this around because, again, those young players, it's so funny. Nick Seeler comes back at his first game of the season, and all of a sudden it's like this defense is lost. This defense has also been a big problem too, John. I mean, they've had some bad some bad plays allowed.
I saw some of that last night. Yeah, they're not fun.
Been a problem
well,
too.
My hope is that by the end of the year, last third of the year, you're like, man, we got something here. You've identified these young players are going to be great. Now, how do we add in with veterans and things like that? So, I mean, I was told before the season to worry less about the playoffs and worry more about development. This is a bad start to the season, man. This is not a great start to the season.
Not a great start yesterday. And then yesterday was the Frozen Frenzy. We had all 32 teams in play yesterday, John. It was awesome, John.
Yeah, just what you want to do up against NBA opening night is go head-to-head with NBA opening night. 2 games last night. And our chat was saying they couldn't hear the video that we put up.
Yeah, I'm working on a substitute.
Right. Well, so that's fine. But so last night it was banner night for the Celtics. They raised their championship banner. They smoked the Knicks. 43 points in the first quarter. All 5 starters finished with double digits. This is a deep team. At least their starters are deep. When you look at their rotation's not great, but they don't need to be. Mm-hmm. Right, Tatum led the way with 37, but man, they're good. 132 to 109. Knicks didn't look great, but their doors were blown off from the beginning. Karl-Anthony Towns had 12 points in his Knicks debut. But history was made in Los Angeles. Oh, how could you not stay up late for this one? Bronny and Bron come together on the court at the same time. If we have the video, JP's going to put it up there. But they became the first father-son duo in NBA history to appear in a game
let's
together.
Try again, actually.
They checked in with 4 minutes left in the second quarter. LeBron obviously started and was already in there. But Bronny came in. He played 3 minutes. Historic moment. Father-son, first time in the NBA, in the history of the NBA. The Griffies were there for it. Oh, my God. Here it is. They're checking in. You see this?
All right, let's try.
Oh, isn't that great? They're both at the scorer's table.
Well, at least this one.
History tonight. The first father-son duo to play together in an NBA game.
Yeah, I don't need to see anymore. I'm never going to hate Bron. And Bronny played 3 minutes and didn't score, missed 2 shots. I don't want to be the guy that is constantly updating the box score of Bronny. And unfortunately, if he's playing, that's what a lot of people are going to do because they're going to say he doesn't deserve to have the minutes, which he doesn't. But I'm not going to tear the kid down. Lakers win, by the way, 110 to 103. I just kind of roll my eyes at the moment because he has no business entering the first game of the season in the second quarter. He just doesn't. Everybody knows that, but whatever. So here's we can actually skip that because there were some hijinks going on with LeBron and his son where they filled his car up with Lucky Charms.
We can share.
You got it? Yeah, because, I mean, Bron probably spent a lot of hours filling up the entire thing. Like, look at him. Here he is. Oh, that sneaky LeBron. Oh, rookie, I'm going to play some pranks on you. Oh, he ran away because Bronny's coming. Let me get to my car before I get caught. All right. Dad!
Come on.
That one box of Lucky Charms Bron put in there.
Hey, Rook. Better not be late.
Better not be late.
Are you serious? Hey, clean up my driveway. It's a mess.
It's actually funny.
So I guess the first question that I had when I saw this was, so is Bronny living with his parents? Remember we saw Tommy DeVito last year with the Giants.
Tommy Cutlets. Yeah.
Tommy Cutlets was still living at home.
Hey, Ma!
Like, is Bronny living at home?
I think he may. Tommy Cutlets might have been living in a 3-bedroom, 2,000 square foot house.
Highly likely.
Bron, he probably has his own house on there. I don't know, but I think he may be. Eagles, not a lot of Eagles news. They're getting ready for the Bengals on Sunday. Breaking NFL news this morning, according to Shefty, trade being finalized. DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs. Rashid Rice out for the season. Hollywood Brown out for the season. Smith-Schuster out for this week with a hamstring. They needed somebody. Probably a late-round draft pick for DeAndre Hopkins. The Rams also have called multiple teams about trading former Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp, second-round draft pick. This is according to The Athletic. Taking on some of the salary this year in a second-round draft pick. Eagles fans, they're not getting him, so stop. Don't be silly. All right, don't like. Well, what do you mean? Why couldn't they get him? Because they don't need another high-priced wide receiver that needs targets. You don't even want Jalen Hurts throwing the ball. You want them running the ball 40 times a game. Like, let's get another all-pro wide receiver. Yeah. Great idea.
Talk to me when Myles Garrett becomes a liable.
And that's even dumber because
you
they're
don't
not
like Myles Garrett.
Well, at the trade deadline, they're not trade. The Browns aren't giving up Myles Garrett for a first-round draft pick at the trade deadline. It's stupid.
It would absolutely be super tough to get him, but
I would trade a first-round draft pick for him. It's just not. It's not feasible right now.
If we're talking about living in La La Land as Eagles fans, I'm in on the Myles Garrett over
Max
any
Crosby,
other player.
I know. I'll trade Max Crosby and Willie Green and a second-round draft pick for him. Some sad news out of and Derek Bodner is going to join us here in a second. Fernando Valenzuela died yesterday, age of 63.
Dude, I saw that late last night too, man.
What I didn't realize was that the Dodgers weren't popular in Los Angeles because they had moved and no one really cared that much about them. Fernando put Los Angeles in front of the Dodgers, is what Bill Platsky wrote in the Times this morning.
Yeah, great 30 for 32.
It sure was, man. He was an icon. He still is an icon in Los Angeles. 20-year-old rookie. He won the Cy Young. He won the Rookie of the Year. He won his first 8 starts with an ERA of 0.5, 7 complete games in his first 8 starts. He never got better than that. Like that was literally, and he was still a good pitcher. And the Dodgers won the World Series that year. So he is bigger in Los Angeles than any Dodger of all time. That's for sure. He is big, big, big.
I'm sure we'll see some of those Valenzuela jerseys at the World Series.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I remember Fernando and Steve Carlton were great hitting pitchers. They would hit home runs in games, I remember, as a kid. But Fernando was a Philly in 1994. I had season tickets, and one of my games was, I had a 16-game plan. One of my games was a Fernando game. When his first start, I think, with the Phillies, they signed him like mid-season.
Dude, I'm jealous.
And I prepaid for parking before the year with the tickets.
Nice.
All the lots were full that you could park in with the voucher. So I couldn't park for what I already paid, and I had to go to the office and be like, give me my money back. This is BS, because a lot of people came down. He was still pretty good with the Phillies that year. So, Fernando's an icon, man. Huge, huge, huge. Came from Mexico. His parents were farmers. He taught himself how to pitch. Like you said, the 30 for 30 on Fernando is amazing. So you should definitely check that out.
Yeah, definitely inspired a couple generations of Mexican baseball players too. So he's definitely
connected the whole city to the team. It's amazing. All right, Derek's going to join us coming up here in a second. We'll get you ready for the Sixers, or at least we'll complain about the Sixers. But listen, we got to talk about Glatt hair restoration. I got to tell you, I haven't inspected JP's hair. So I got to see what his Zuli could use a trip over to Glatt hair restoration. We've already talked about that, but he won't do it. But anyway, if you're looking for solutions to your hair loss, well, bald's now optional with Glatt hair restoration. I had a hair restoration procedure done by Glatt Hair Restoration, now by Morgenstern Medical under the direction of renowned plastic surgeon Dr. Ken Morgenstern, and the results are right here. You can see it. I can't hide from this. We have a good setup here. They're good lights, make me look more handsome than I actually am. But look at my hair. That's my real growing hair. That's Glatt Hair Restoration. You can get your hair back. So if you're ready for restoration, you're losing a lot of hair. Maybe you're just starting to go bald and you're thinning and everything. Glatt Hair has something for you. All stages of hair loss. Vitamin supplementation is awesome and gives you real results. PRP and stem cell, hair restoration, topical medications, they really all have it for you. And each patient receives a complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint the best course of treatment. Glatt Hair is not just about restoration, it's about innovation. So give them a call today at 610-980-4000. You can speak to the hair team, 610-980-4000. And again, like, they're ready to team up with you. So you go in for the one-on-one consultation, and it's like, I don't think you need restoration. Here's what I would do. Or I don't think you need to do anything right now. Let's wait a little bit and see what goes on. That's what you will get from Glatt Hair Restoration. Their website is Glatt Hair, Glatt Hair, MCTR.com. All right, let's get right to the business here with Bet Parks. All right, right now it's a 2.5-point spread for the Eagles on Sunday. 2.5-point underdogs in Cincinnati. Get on that right now. World Series starts Friday. Dodgers minus 125. Yankees plus 105. World Series MVP. Do you like Ohtani, Judge, Soto, Betts, Giancarlo Stanton? A lot of star power. Good values in there for the MVP. Everything's available on the Bet Parks app, the one and only sportsbook app I would ever recommend. Bet Parks and the Bet Parks Sportsbook app and online casino. Right now to win the Eastern Conference. Celtics are the favorite, minus 150. Sixers plus 400. Knicks plus 300. Bucks plus 600. Bet Parks is the one and only sportsbook app that I would recommend. So whether it's football, college, NFL, NBA, MLB, Bet Parks has it all. Your casino bonus that you get right now, if you check it out. Download the Bet Parks online casino app. $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down within the first 24 hours. BetParks.com for details. Your bonus must be wagered, and you must be 21 in NJ, PA, Maryland, Ohio, or Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I really need, we need some tunes coming out of that, because sometimes I need to, clear my throat. Let me clear my throat. And I need a spittoon because I have this post-nasal drip, and I need to clear it and be like, excuse me, to move on. And there's nothing else I can do because I have no break here. I'm sure Derek Bodner of PHLY Sixers is pleased to get that intro as he joins us right now ahead of the Sixers and the Bucks opening night tonight for your 76ers minus Joel Embiid and Paul George. And that really becomes the big story heading in to the season. Is Derek there? Or
here we go. Hold on one second.
Yeah. JP is, as we finally got our technical glitches taken care of and we got equipment fixed and back, but that also means that there's technical glitches in the new equipment that we got.
All right.
So Derek's going to join us coming up here in a second. But as far as the season, once we can get past the Embiid and the George stuff or whatever, you have to look at what the team is. And God, even the Celtics, normally when you win a championship and you're coming off winning a championship, there's fatigue. I don't know if the Celtics are going to have that hangover the next year. It didn't look like it last night. All right, Derek Bodner, PHLY 76ers, joins us along with Devon Givens and Kyle Neubeck, giving you the best coverage by far in the city or anywhere. What's up, DB?
Not much. I'm doing well.
All right. Did you get a sense that there was something going on with Embiid that maybe the Sixers weren't revealing? Are you surprised that he's not going to be ready for the opener?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I mean, when you found out that he wasn't doing 5-on-5 scrimmaging for training camp and up to that point in the preseason, you sort of knew it was a possibility. But yeah, I mean, this is the home opener. It didn't sneak up on anyone. So unless there was some kind of a setback that would have prevented him from working out in September and now October, then yeah, it's surprising that he's not available. It is definitely, like I said, when we started learning that he wasn't doing any scrimmaging, that was extending into the preseason, then yeah, you started thinking there's a possibility. But even still, why? Why is he not ready? We've just never gotten a great answer.
Is the answer that the 76ers were hoping that he was going to be ready and decided that they weren't going to say anything in case he was ready because then they don't have to deal with the obvious shrapnel of Joel Embiid's not ready to start the season and he played in the Olympics? That's the way I think it is. His knee just didn't respond well after the Olympics. I don't know if he got back out of shape or whatever happened, but the 76ers could have been transparent about this and said, he's having some issues. We're going to bring him along a little slower than we thought we were going to initially. We see where he is, but they gave us nothing, and therefore doing this the day before just seems kind of unfair to the fans.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably the most generous read. But then again, if something did happen in the Olympics and he wasn't playing basketball for, let's say, 2 months afterwards, we just never heard about it, so we were never able to set any kind of expectations. And I think, if like you said, if, let's say, he came out of the Olympics, I'm not even going to say something happened to the knee, but maybe the knee just wasn't feeling right. Out of, quote-unquote, an abundance of caution, they wanted him to sit and rest for a couple of, 6 weeks or whatever, and then because of that, he wasn't in game shape to start the season. I think fans, for the most part, would accept that. They wouldn't be happy because a lot of people didn't think he should be playing in the Olympics. But we are dealing with a tricky situation with the knee. Everyone understands an abundance of caution at this stage. It's just never been communicated. And because it's never been communicated, fans start filling in the details. When there's a lack of details and specificity, fans will fill it in with their worst nightmares. You're talking about a guy with 2 surgeries on that knee. The worst nightmares are pretty freaking bad. So if that was the case, I would say that they handled this pretty poorly.
Yeah, and like maybe Embiid didn't prepare himself well after the Olympics. We don't know, but like now it's left for what exactly happened. Now we're guessing. Like you had said, Marcus Hayes writes something in the Daily News, I think yesterday, maybe it's today, or the Inquirer, saying like, Embiid got out of shape. He got fat after the Olympics. And unless that's actually what happened with Embiid, that's really unfair. Because like Derek, like you had said, I don't think anybody, we may not be happy about it. And I respect Joel playing in the Olympics. Like, if he's not ready to start the season, like, he's not ready to start the season. He played in the Olympics. I respect that. But if it would have been, hey, it's a long season, we need him healthy in the playoffs, we don't need him rushing if he's not 100% ready. We've come to expect this with Joel Embiid. Is anybody expecting some magic elixir where he's not going to be, they're going to manage his knee for the rest of his career. They're going to manage his body for the rest of the career. Again, the 76ers and their weird lack of communication bites them in the butt again. It's very frustrating.
It's 100, and speaking as a reporter who covers his team and is, paid to talk about it and try to make guesses on his availability, it's equally frustrating for sure. And look, fans, I do feel bad for fans. Like, fans paying top dollar for opening night. And look, there's Paul George. You can't do anything about it, right?
Nothing.
He planted, things didn't go right, got a bone bruise. Can't do anything about that. Just be honest about Joel Embiid. And like I said, I think your read is probably maybe the most, it's the one you have to jump to the least amount of conclusions to make. But then just set expectations early on, and most of this controversy goes away.
Andre Drummond now looks like a big signing. And, it should have looked like a big signing even before we knew this. But still, so now you at least start the season, and you're like, all right, we have somebody capable in there with Andre Drummond. How do you expect them coming out of the gate? And how many games is Embiid missing here? When will we see Paul George and Joel Embiid? Best guess.
Oh, buddy, 36 hours ago, I was predicting he would play on opening night, so I do not feel qualified to guess how long he's going to be out. There's one thing I've learned: don't try to guess that. Hopefully, it's just a couple days, a week, but who knows? Who knows? I still think, depending on the Paul George news, if he comes back, he only misses maybe, let's say, opening night or maybe the first 2 games. I think the Sixers can be pretty competitive. I think, Maxey and Paul George, along with Drummond there anchoring the center, I think they can win some games while Embiid's out. I think it's one of the reasons that you can convince Joel to maybe take his health seriously, where in the past he was prioritizing playing, because in the past, whenever he didn't play, they had no chance of winning. Now they do. So I think they have a chance. I think Drummond is going to be key. I am a little bit worried about the third string center. They've been playing Gershon Yabusele there mostly in the preseason because Adembona, who they drafted or signed after the draft, is not ready. You understand that Gershon is very undersized and has not played in the NBA, obviously, since 2019. So there is a lot of uncertainty there. But no, I think Drummond's going to be real good for him.
You look at this rotation this year, and once you get past, and again, this is like part of this is the 76ers problem, but once you get past the whole Embiid stuff, I like this roster. They have some real pieces for the rotation for Nick Nurse to use. Caleb Martin, maybe he's not being talked about enough, or it's a little bit of an under the radar signing for the 76ers. I think really what this team needed, other than obviously you need more skill everywhere, but a certain toughness to the team that maybe we've missed a little bit in the past. Martin, Oubre, Embiid, George, and Maxey. How does the starting 5 match up with some of these other teams that Embiid has had? Is this the best starting 5 that you've seen in a while?
Yeah, I think the only other case would be the 2018-19 team, but they played with, Butler and JJ and Tobias and obviously Ben Simmons. A lot of those names don't look quite so good in retrospect, but at the time they were pretty good basketball players. The problem with that group is they had almost no time to gel. They acquired Tobias in February, they acquired Jimmy a couple months before that. And it seemed like, they had some pieces that it was a little tough to fit around each other, specifically the Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler fit. I think this team is certainly competitive with that in terms of sheer end talent, but the pieces just fit so much better. Maxey is a tailor-made fit alongside of Joel Embiid, and Paul George is almost a perfect option as a very high-usage three-point shooter who can shoot off the dribble, off the catch, off of movement. I think he just fits almost perfectly alongside your 2 stars. And the role players are, they have really good depth. They have more perimeter defense right now than they have had probably within the Joel Embiid era. I think that could make them a smothering defense. They could be a top 3 defense in the league. But the if is always going to apply if their players actually play together. And we know what Joel Embiid going to be very cautious on back-to-backs. There's been reports that Paul George, they will be cautious with him too. So how many games do these three actually play together? We don't know. But I think they should be one of the most dominant three-man groups in the league, and I think they have role players that actually make sense around them.
And I feel like I would answer my question by saying you just don't know with Joel Embiid, but would we be buying like 76er stock right now? Are you buying, or is this just kind of hold because of the Joel Embiid factor? Because I feel like the 76ers are being underrated or kind of flying under the radar a little bit heading into the season.
Yeah, it's real tough because you can look at it two ways. It's either upside or it's probability. The upside is enormous. Like they could certainly, I think, end up being the second best team in the East. When you get in the playoffs, you have even 2 years ago, it was obviously the ending nobody wanted, but they were up 3-2 with a chance to win it in 6 against Boston. They would have a chance in a playoff series against pretty much anyone. The probability of all that, because there's a lot of ifs that you have to go through in order to get to that phase. There's just a lot of things that would have to go right. And it's not impossible. Like I said, I think maybe the fact that they can be more cautious with Embiid because they have confidence that they can win games without him will help. I think, obviously, Tyrese Maxey you believe in a lot, but there's just a lot of things that have to go right. So, yeah, I think the stock probably depends on how you're viewing it. I do think the upside is there, but the probability is hugely in doubt.
It sure is, man. Derek Bodner, tonight you have a pregame. Are you guys going to be down? Anybody going to be down at the Wells Fargo Center? Kyle down there reporting. You go pregame, you go postgame. What's the setup tonight?
Kyle and I will be down there at the arena, and then Devon and Rich will be doing the pre and postgame. So we will have covered from all angles.
That is awesome. All right, PHLY 76ers. Obviously, you've probably checked it out, but if you haven't, these guys are amazing. Pre-post, the regular shows during the week. Check them out. Derek, thanks, man. We'll be talking a lot. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
All right, there he is, Derek Bodner. Yeah, it frustrates me even more because Nick Nurse, he's left with nothing to say yesterday other than, there's been no setback. Well, of course there's been. There has to be a setback. Wait, this isn't this isn't a continuation. He didn't. I just I don't understand. I don't understand the communication, the lack of communication from this team. I don't get it. I don't. It's so frustrating. But yeah, and we have to go through talking to Derek for 5 minutes on opening night about the obvious questions with Joel Embiid and what the hell the 76ers are doing, rather than a team that you should be excited about this year. And I'm just telling you, JP, and we got to get to it. We got to go for a second. And the fact that everything rides on Joel Embiid, and do we really believe his health is going to be fine and he's going to be good in the playoffs and all this load management's going to work and everything else?
It's $1 million question.
God, how can you're hoping?
Yeah.
And God, I hope. But you're hoping, and that's what you're staring down the barrel of right now. Is that all right? Well, hurry up and get to the playoffs to see if Embiid can be healthy.
Yeah, and we gotta, and it's funny because there was so much excitement in this offseason, right? Like Paul George, Caleb Martin. It felt like this was the perfect team going into the season, but I still felt, John, all right, cool, but I need to see what this does in the playoffs. Is this still enough to get out of the second round? And more importantly, am I going to have Joel Embiid healthy in that second round? Because we still have yet to have that happen. That's a big reason why also we haven't been able to get out that second round. This season, the Sixers title hope, any potential title hopes, all rest on the body of Joel. That's just never fun year in and year out, John.
You got to figure one of these years they're going to at least luck out to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. That was the Hawks year. Right? That was the Hawks year. They're so much better team than the Hawks. Ben Simmons. That's when the Ben Simmons thing started.
Yep.
Jesus,
it just never ends here in this, and especially with the Sixers, man. You got to think there's been some this has been good basketball, right? We went through the process because we wanted a team that was a contender, and we do have a contender, but it's just the way they lose in the playoffs every single year.
It's the way they lose,
dude.
Embiid throws people under the bus. Everybody else gets blamed. Man. Bad body language, weird press conferences. Doc Rivers is not his fault. Remember last year, beginning of the season, Tobias with the what did Tobias do? Something with the cookie place.
Oh, dude, Sixers fans would trade me for a crumble cookie. Absolutely, Tobias, because in Game 6, in an elimination situation, that crumble cookie might get me a point.
So Tobias was saying that we don't appreciate him, and he's this great 3-and-D player, and then Daryl Morey takes a picture outside of the cookie place or whatever, trolling us, and it's like, Daryl, you know what? My middle finger. All right, I'll use my pinky. Like, don't patronize me, bro. I've been here. Been 41 years. 40 years. One freaking Eastern Conference appearance.
Dude,
you suck.
My generation, that's all we know. I mean, at least like the older generations, like, Cuz always tells me about the 80s, right? And like the 83 championship.
Yeah.
But like, dude, all my generation has is a 2001
The
final.
step over.
That's all we have.
The step over is the iconic 76er moment because that's all we have.
That's all we have, dude.
And a lot of freaking heartbreak. And a lot of bad basketball, man. It just infuriates me.
Rough.
All right. We have more coming up in a second. But we got to stop to speak to our some of our great sponsors. And JP's going to handle one I'm at this place every day picking up prescriptions, JP.
Johnny, I'm not going to lie to you. I as well have been there quite often, right? And then everyone knows what we're talking about, right? It's our local neighborhood Rite Aid, ladies and gentlemen. And look, as of late, I've been dealing with a little bit tickle in the throat, right? A little bit of a cough. Got some phlegm, got that mucus built up. So I've been heading to Rite Aid. Like John said, it's been the top spot for me. Whether it be getting, your NyQuil or your DayQuil, anything to just get rid of this cough. Some nice little cough drops. My wife likes to treat them like they're Jolly Ranchers. Yes, like candy. I'm like, hun, this is medicine. This is not candy. I'll go get you some Jolly Ranchers. Just take it easy. But everything we need from candy, from medicine, last minute party ideas. I got a party coming up this weekend. It's Rite Aid. It's where we're going to go. It's our local neighborhood one-stop shop, and that's why we love our friends over at Rite Aid. And, of course, you want to make sure you guys are becoming Rite Aid Rewards members. You get, obviously, the best deals out there, but also, too, you could schedule visits as well. You can even get your prescriptions. You can have them automated, right? Like we all love the not worrying about it. If you enroll in their subscription, right, for your prescriptions, they'll have them ready for you. You don't have to do anything. You go right on into Rite Aid, and you can pick it right up. It's super simple, right? So go right now to visit your local Rite Aid, or you can visit RiteAid.com. You can find anything you need, from scripts, from last-minute things. It's everything we need at our one-stop shop with our friends over at Rite Aid, John.
There you go. All right. Well, let's talk about something I know nothing about, which is fixing things. Nothing. I'm pathetic. I'm just telling
Guilty,
you.
Man. Guilty.
My wife even taunts me sometimes on it, where she'll be like, you got to teach the kids to use the screwdriver or the wrench. And I'm like, I thought they were pliers. Like, no, that's a wrench. And I'm like, oh, sorry, they're pliers. Yeah, so that's why guys like me, and I can admit it, not as handy as I wish I was. And that's why you need Ace Hardware Home Services, because if you have something that needs repaired, if it's something simple and you can't do it, that's fine. AceHardwareHomeServices.com is how you get started on your next project. Maybe it is something legit, right? Plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical. Actually, my air conditioning unit, because it's still been 80 degrees, it's making this really loud, like,
oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, no. Please, no. No. Ace Hardware Home Services. Wide range of residential maintenance, installation, and home repair services. Free estimates. How about equipment installation? What do? You're like, hey, I'm getting a new fridge. All right, I can roll it in, but I don't know how to connect the copper piping to the fridge. I can't do anything. Hanging TVs, whatever it is. Equipment installation, replacement, trusted advisors, and options that are best suited for your home and for your budget. And emergency services. Toilet goes on the weekend. Your heater goes on the weekend. What do? You can't freeze. AceHardwareHomeServices.com. Service you can trust, and satisfaction is guaranteed. They'll make it right no matter what. AceHardwareHomeServices.com.
Love it.
All right, so I have JP. I have here.
What you got?
Bet Parks. I have the some odds for this NBA season.
Okay.
To win the championship right now, Celtics plus 300, Knicks plus 700. That's really interesting. The Knicks are they're the second shortest odds.
I don't know, man. I don't know about the Knicks this year.
I do know about the Knicks.
What do you know about the Knicks?
I think the Knicks have balls that the 76ers haven't shown that they have. And when push comes to shove, they're a tougher team and they'll win. Now, they lost to DiVincenzo.
That's what I'm worried about.
Dude,
well, not worried, but
the Sixers need a player like that. For sure. I like Caleb Martin because I think he's a Pat Riley player.
Oh, yeah.
Which I like.
He's a dog.
Thunder plus 700, Mavericks plus 1,000, Nuggets plus 1,000, T-Wolves plus 1,000, 76ers plus 1,000. So the same odds as the Mavs and the Nuggets and the T-Wolves, which is very respectable. The Bucks at plus 1,400, they've kind of flown by the wayside. No one's looking at them as a favorite anymore, or at least one of the top favorites.
Well, when Doc Rivers is your coach, I mean, come on. Come on.
That's the death nail to the team. God. If you know, I'll at least Doc won a championship, albeit a long time ago, with an all-time Celtics team, right? But like, how much failure does a coach need to have before he stops getting jobs? I guess the NBA they always run the gamut of the recycled guys, and Doc.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, like I think Doc Rivers is actually a good coach. I think the problem with Doc Rivers is Doc Rivers. I think he's his own worst enemy. He's just too stubborn, man. You got to adjust.
So true.
He's his own worst enemy.
Doc's actually a good guy.
Yes, I know he'd kill him.
I have a lot of friends that have worked for the Sixers or that work for the Sixers, and I've never heard anybody say anything but like, oh, no, Doc's a really good dude.
Yeah.
But the way he acted in the media towards the fans, and towards the end, I softened up on him a little bit. But like, I almost look at Doc like Michelle Beadle. Michelle Beadle is very talented. Don't get me wrong. I see why she gets all these jobs. She also fails at every job that she has, and she flames out and she gets fired. She has made so much money sitting on her butt just waiting out contracts because they get rid of her.
Sounds like Tobias Harris.
I can't. No. Yo, fans don't appreciate what he is, man. 3 and D.
Oh,
shooting the three. And everything
Detroit's
else.
problem now.
Oh my God! Well, I mean, he's exactly where he belongs. Now.
Oh yeah, dude. Tobias
Harris. All right, some. So if you weren't going to pick the 70, because I'm not picking the 76ers to win a championship. I'm not. It's JP. It's interesting in this job, and you have to be mindful of it in talking about what the topics are being talked about, and not always being a homer. When you feel like a team should be criticized, a team should be criticized. But there's also where I believe starting off a season with negativity is a bad thing, because there's not every 76er fan is a jaded fan that they're coming into the season mad. There's a lot of 76ers that are fans that are excited about the season. They're happy to have basketball back.
Yes.
So you have to be mindful of that when you're going into a season. I want to be old guy, get off my lawn, because I'm just so fatigued with everything with the Sixers right now.
I bet, dude.
But it's also like, all right, so the Sixers, I think, are a good team. It's just impossible for me to believe that they're going to win a playoff. But also, like, you have to realize that there are a lot of people tuning in that don't want to be told your team sucks, you're not winning a championship on the first day of the season. With that being said, I worry a little bit about the slow start, but once you get into the meat and potatoes of the season, this is a good team. This is going to be a good team. Nick Nurse is a good head coach. Joel Embiid is a great talent. Paul George is a great player. And like Tyrese Maxey showed last year that he is on the verge or already at stardom. He's a top 20 player in the NBA right now. I like Martin as a great fit for the rest of the team. I think this is a good team, and they'll be easily a top 4 team in the East.
I mean, for sure. I mean, like, you look at this team, this is obviously the deepest team that we've seen with the Sixers. And like, if Joel Embiid's out, I mean, you have Andre Drummond, and like we saw Andre Drummond. The funny part too, John, is that like we didn't even get to see Andre Drummond in the playoffs because we traded him. We traded him to Brooklyn at that point. So
that's right.
Yeah. So like the big parts of why we have lost these playoff series is obviously the big one's obviously Joel needs to stay healthy. Like that's a duh answer. But also too, dude, how many times have we gotten out rebounded? How many times did we lose to a 6-man coming off the bench and just has like a career night? And like, I feel like now we have the remedy for the rebounding. We got the likes of Andre Drummond and Yershon Yabusele, man. I really like his game. He's got that dog in him too. He's very edgy. He does do the dirty work as they say in basketball. And then you obviously get Kelly Oubre back. So I think like a lot of these players, you mentioned Caleb Martin too, will be able to help with that too. But when it comes to the depth, though, it's very interesting because obviously you got veterans like Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, and Reggie Jackson back here. The Jared McCain one's going to be interesting. And listen, I didn't even get to check Dalton Connect's stat line last night for the Lakers. But, John, it sucks. But, all year long, this fan base is going to compare the two. What did Dalton Connect do tonight? What did Jared McCain do tonight? Because, unfortunately, this fan base did want Dalton Connect.
Yeah, and it seemed like he slid right to him. And
right there.
McCain is more famous for his TikToks at this point than getting in the rotation.
Oh, and the
which is okay, right? I guess. I mean,
yeah, but, the minute you start airballing threes or missing defensive assignments,
he looked very young in the preseason. He looked like he needed some seasoning before he was ready to be a part of the rotation.
They did say he had a good camp.
Connect went 2 for 4 with 5 points last night.
Okay,
in 16 minutes.
There you go, guys.
Went 1 for 3.
It's different in the regular season than the preseason.
he is connecting, as they say, on some threes. Yeah, so like honestly, I have no idea what this team is going to look like when they hit the playoffs. I have no idea if Joel Embiid is going to be healthy when they hit the playoffs. Man. I have no idea if Paul George is going to be healthy when they hit the playoffs. And also, where is this team? We talk a lot about this in baseball. The one thing you can't judge from year to year is there that special spark in a clubhouse or with a team where everything just seems to be clicking? Everybody's pulling in the right direction. Everybody's getting along. Like just for whatever reason, it's working. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of season the 76ers need this year. They need a season where it's like they're rallying around everybody. They're rallying around Joel Embiid. There's some kind of common goal and bond that guys are all pulling and pushing in the same direction.
Yeah.
And like Embiid has played well in the playoffs. He hasn't played well in the playoffs. He's just kind of been a roller coaster. So I don't know how to call it. I don't know how to call it, but if I was to call it, I'd say that they're probably not making the Eastern Conference Finals again, unfortunately.
I mean, at least like this year, like they have the crux. Like they definitely can do it. Like on paper, this team can absolutely compete in the Eastern Conference and possibly finally get over that hump and make it into the Eastern Conference Finals. But I mean, like you said, like obviously, yes, you need a little luck, right? Like I hate to bring this up already, but you look at that Mets and Philly series. Mets had everything. Like they were rolling. Like they were exactly what you were talking about, right? Like they got along. We made fun of the pumpkin picking, but like
it was working. Whatever it was working for them.
Those little things helped, and they were able to get over the hump against the Phillies. So like everything does need to come together at the right time. But like what? Another thing too, and it's gonna be a big part of this year. John is Tyrese Maxey and taking that next step as that leader. And obviously, like, look, you've heard the early conversations. People want to put him in the MVP conversations early on. But more importantly, what he is, when you're talking about that locker room chemistry, he's that glue guy, in my opinion, because he's somewhere in the middle, right? Like, he's still young enough, but also he's got that respect of the veterans, too. So, like, he's going to be the big part of being that glue there for the team. And obviously, we're excited for what he's going to do in another year, man. He's looked good so far, too.
And he had a game last year where they weren't going to lose. He was not letting them lose in the playoffs. He was not letting them lose.
Game 5. Oh.
And they need it. It's tough when you have – I was thinking about this driving in, that normally in Philly, when do we get shiny things that – like Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, I remember talking to Brett Brown when we still hadn't really seen – he was drafted. He wasn't healthy, but we hadn't seen him. So we didn't know what type of a player we were getting. And I remember asking Brett Brown actually off the air. Yeah. And his eyes lit up. And he goes, you have no idea. Like he is the best shot on the team from anywhere. He shoots free throws at a high percentage. He is an athletic freak. Like you could tell it was like we got something special. But he can't stay healthy. Right? Like so you have the shiny object and you have the MVP, but he can't stay healthy. Could Maxey be the guy that, like you were saying, that has it all? Because they need somebody that can handle the ball, that can create their own shot. You overuse Embiid in the playoffs, you know what happens.
Yep.
They double down on him. They triple down on him. He tries to kick it out, high turnovers. He starts playing erratic.
A little hero ball, too, from Embiid.
He tries to do too much because everybody wants him to do too much. He's got to do it. Yeah, it's a tough spot. It is. It's a tough spot. I am by no means an Embiid hater. From time to time, I get angry at him with his behavior.
Understandable.
But he's a tremendous talent. The only thing to do going forward is you continue to keep trying and trying and trying until he decides, or it's pretty clear that you need to move on from him. So that's the best. I mean, outside of the year, and Derek talked about it, where you acquired Jimmy and Tobias during the year.
Yeah.
Like this, you're going to get a run with this core.
Yeah.
Paul George and Maxey and Embiid, you have a run with this core. Caleb Martin's going to be here. So you got to put guys around him. And, I think Morey's done a pretty good job in the offseason. By the way, the breaking news that we had earlier, the Chiefs finalizing a trade for DeAndre Hopkins.
Insane.
It's a 5th rounder that can become a 4th rounder.
Oh, man.
So just
I know what Eagles fans are going to say now. How do you give up a 3rd for Jahan Dotson?
Yeah, well, I think Hopkins is cooked. So it's worth a shot for the Chiefs because they're desperate.
Andy's going to get primed DeAndre Hopkins because it's just Andy and Chiefs away.
He'll catch a touchdown in the Super Bowl this year somehow. They don't have any wide receivers. Sky Moore, who was their 2nd draft pick a couple years ago, he doesn't look like he can play. Yeah. Xavier Worthy, their rookie, is really dynamic,
dude.
But he's also not a heavy catch guy at this point. He's more of a playmaker.
That's speed, though.
Holy cow, man. That speed's unbelievable.
Dude can run.
So this is a good trade for them. No, Cooper Kupp's not coming to Philadelphia, so stop.
Dude,
everybody.
We're fine at the receiver. Like, I mean, honestly, on offense, the only thing that really concerns me is Jalen Hurts' development because I have yet to kind of really see that this year.
Jalen Hurts is 100% what you need. Oh, that's why you give him another receiver. Oh, have him run the ball 40 times a game. He doesn't need to throw ball more than 25 times. Like, come on, what are we doing here with this team?
That's my only concern here, man.
All right, so what's your prediction for the Sixers on the season as we're running out of time here?
I think that this year, I still think that especially all of a sudden the Atlantic is a juggernaut. I know people don't care about divisions in the NBA, but dude, we got Boston, you got New York and Philadelphia. I don't think they get out the 2nd round this year, man. It's going to be, and also too, people are sleeping on Indiana, who were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and they're still a really good squad too. Pascal Siakam's going to have a full year as well. So it's a toss-up between those 4 teams that we just talked about. But I just don't think the Sixers get out the 2nd round. But I still think it's going to be, 50 plus. You'll have a couple all-stars, the usual regular season stuff for the Sixers. But we don't care about that, John.
It's a long regular season. I haven't talked. I mean, honestly, doing sports radio for as many years during the Eagles season, it's nice to not have to pay attention to the Sixers early. You mentioned that their season's starting and everything else, but you're not going game to game early on in the season with them. So it'll be actually nice to watch them early in the season.
Yeah.
So hopefully Embiid doesn't miss that much time. That's the other thing. Is this one of these things where a week from now, he's still not ready yet. He's getting close, but Embiid, you're going to sit out another couple games. And then now we're in December and we're like, all right, is he coming back soon? I know there's been no setback. Everything's fine, but he's missing time. So lots of fun being a 76ers fan. Man. Shout out to the diehards out there, by the way. Thank you, diehards. Appreciate you. Get to allphly.com and get that. I saw there was a diehard special going on right now.
That's right.
Check out the newsletter. I saw PHLY Daily as Rich Hoffman said it today. Good deal for
$4 a month, John. You can't beat that.
Dude, no, you cannot beat that. I need that bundled with my Disney and everything else. I have too many bundles. How many things do you pay for? Because I still have cable too, which I hate.
Too much, John. Too much, dude. Like it's funny. Like I never thought that I would miss cable. Like why do I miss cable? It's because like we have all these subscriptions and now I'm paying like triple what I used to pay for cable.
Really?
It's insane.
But see, I have all the subscriptions and cable.
Well, I do YouTube TV, which is also
I want
like
to
$80
move off.
a month.
I want to move off the cable because I don't really, other than sports and
That's
I watch
why I
shows
have
and
it.
stuff, but I don't watch it live on TV.
No.
I don't watch any live TV really.
You only have it for sports.
Only for sports. That's it. That's really it. Anyway, everybody that joins us live every morning on YouTube, if you're not watching live and you're watching YouTube whenever, that's great. We appreciate it. But if you can check it out live in the morning, we're building a community of chatters here, as JP has been seeing all morning long.
Dude, some great guys in the chat.
We appreciate you. All right?
K-Red,
so
John
keep tuning
Peace.
in. But if you can't do it live at 8 o'clock every morning, that's perfectly fine. Just search PHLY Sports on YouTube and subscribe. Smash the subscribe button. Is that what you're supposed to say? JP, you're cooler than me. Hit the like button.
Make sure you guys hit the like buttons and smash it.
Smash that subscribe button. And then comment. Think of whatever we're talking about. You watch it. Drop the comment in there. And we may even use it later on. And what I've learned is, because we had a problem with the podcast feed earlier in the week, we got the wrong episode put up there.
Okay.
A ton of people that reached out to me being like, yo, you're doing like Mets Phillies talk. I don't think this is today's show. And I'm like, oh, man. So the podcast is up.
Yes.
99.9% of the time, it's the right podcast. But it's up. Just search PHLY Sports or Philly with Jon Marks, wherever you get your podcasts. And, yeah, give us the 5-star review. You could be honest if you want to. 5-star reviews if you're being honest. It's a great show. But definitely, you can check out the audio version podcast. JP will get it up there pretty much right now, and you can listen at your convenience. And we're live every morning at 8 a.m. Subscribe. Follow me on social media at Jon, Jon Marks, Marks Media. Slide in my DMs and say hello. And we're back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Switch over to Ant. Anthony Gargano Show is live right now. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.